For a prone shoulder external rotation lift-off, you don't need any equipment for this whatsoever. This is one of these ones that I find incredibly difficult because I've got very tight shoulders, but it is incredibly useful to demonstrate whether or not you've got tight shoulders, and it's something that you can use to work on using mobility. Now I'm going to show you two different things here. One of them involves no equipment, one of them involves something. Now it doesn't have to be a piece of gym equipment, it can literally be anything that gives you a little bit of height and that you can press against. I'm going to use a foam roller, but I'm going to show you while I'm doing it as well how we could use a coffee table to do exactly the same thing. It's less comfortable on a coffee table, and to be honest, if I was going to use that for an extended period of time, I would go and get a towel to put across the corner because it's going to dig into your skin. But for the moment, just for the sake of demonstration, I'll show you how I make that work. When you're doing it on the floor, what you're trying to do is keep your elbow at 90 degrees out from your body and the arm coming straight out from your body. And all you're trying to do is lift your hand and wrist off the floor without lifting your elbow. Now I can't get mine very high, so that's why these alternatives are quite useful. Essentially what you're doing in that point is you want to start with your hand in the raised position and you try and push your elbow down towards the floor to try and get you back into that position. You might not make it, but you do your best. Now the other thing that you can do with this is you can start with your in a position where you're wedged in wherever you can in order to get your hand on the floor and elevated and push into the object. Now again, for the coffee table, definitely use a towel or something for this because you'll be restricting your pushing otherwise. You need to push as hard as you possibly can, as if what you're trying to do is rotate your hand forwards. Push as hard as you can for at least 30 seconds, ideally a minute, and then at the end of it immediately lift your hand and push back as far as you can. It's very important that you do that immediately because you've got a very small window of opportunity where your body is so focused on contracting and pressing forward that when you release, you suddenly get this little window of opportunity to go further than you normally would be able to go. So that's why it's useful. So then you take that push up and hold it there for about 20 seconds. So this is kind of like 3 exercises in one. The main one is the one just on the floor, so give that a try. But if you feel that that is not allowing you any range of motion whatsoever and this is really a problem for you, then you can use the others to try and develop from that. I'll show you how they go. So you can see it's quite hard to see the nuances of what I'm doing when I'm just on the floor. It looks almost static, but you can see in the first one, when I'm on the floor, all I'm trying to do is keep my shoulder as close to the floor as I can, elbow hinged onto the floor, and then just raise up as far as my shoulder will allow. Then I did it on the foam roller, and in that instance I'm trying to push my elbow down but also trying to keep my shoulder down hard towards the floor, and that's the bit that's causing the stretch. It would be easy enough to do if I could put my elbow down, wrists cocked up, and then have the shoulder back, because that just lets me angle everything in, and then there's no stretch in the shoulder whatsoever. So you still have to push your chest down towards the floor. Same thing when I use the coffee table. Obviously I'm using it off to the side, I'm not going right to the middle of it because your head has to go somewhere. So you need something that you can put to the side, and then when your hand's in this position, then obviously the thing that you're propping it against is going to be about the same level as your head. So if it's too far above you, if I had to put it in the middle of the coffee table, then the table would be here and then my hand would end up here, which is not the line of rotation that I was looking to get. So you would do that, and then when I did the one on the foam roller, now I kind of rushed that a little bit and I didn't do it for 30 seconds, but it was just to show that you're pressing down as hard as you possibly can, and then you immediately lift. You're not going to get very far, but you just lift a little bit and try and hold it there for 20 to 30 seconds. Give it a shot. There's an awful lot in there, but give them all a try. If you get any questions whatsoever, come back to me. I'll see what I can do to help out. But hopefully you'll find that at least one of these makes a difference to the mobility in your shoulder and you start to feel a little bit more movement up there. Try it out, see how you got on. See you next time.